Yeah, no, it's big for us. Obviously, it was a point of emphasis throughout the summer for us to play faster, to kind of pick up our tempo. We feel like we have good depth. I think it's been able to be on display. So making sure that we're able to play at a really good pace, get up and down the floor, use as many bodies as we can, with also keeping a strong group on the floor. That's always going to be a big thing for us. And I think the freshmen have been doing a solid job of coming along. But man, like if I'm being honest, for a freshman in college basketball, think about being like 19 and you've played the #1 team in the country, the #2 team in the country. I think North Carolina was like 17. Wisconsin, who's obviously playing really well. Your first game really was Michigan State on the road, who at the time was top 5. So I'm happy with them. We always want more out of them, but if you're being like kind of thinking like a human about it, it's like what freshman has to deal with that. So I think they've done an unbelievable job of just kind of understanding that they got to follow the older guys, watch what they do, and learning from those situations.
Coach, Illinois coming off a big game the other night in the Garden. Just when you start to scout them, what jumps out at you? What are a couple of things that they really do well?
First of all, really good team we got coming in. Really good team. I think they're big, they're versatile. They have a lot of guys that can play multiple positions. Their 5-man sometimes can look like their point guard. Their point guard can sometimes look like their 5-man. Their 2 guard can look like a 4-man. And those are, in today's day and age in basketball, positionless basketball is, that's what everybody wants. That's what we've tried to mimic as we've continued with our team. So they're a really good team, man. They do a lot of funky things defensively. They're very handsy. I think they're #1 in the country in field goal defense. So we'll have our hands full, man. They're a really good team. We're excited to have them come in here.
Is Jahmai still trying to figure out what his role is offensively right now?
Yeah, with Shaq, I think that it's I don't think it's any confusion with what he needs to bring defensively. I think offensively, it's always tough when you're, I would say since he's been here, him and Josiah James have changed roles more than anybody in our program. And Josiah has, had some time to really figure it out. And Shaq has kind of had to do it on the fly. And I think that he's still trying to find himself when it comes to that. But I think it's a matter of understanding how to play off of other guys right now. And not feel like he has a burden of creating, which, he's ran the point for us. He's ran the 4. He's played the 2 and the 3, but being able to play off of guys like Dalton and play off of Santi and play off of Jordan, he's just trying to find that balance right now. And he will. I don't doubt it at all. He just needs time, just like a lot of these kids.
What's allowing Joe to play some of his best basketball right now?
#1, health. Joe's been healthy. He's been extremely motivated, which has been great. Joe is he's an older guy, so it's a lot of comfortability he has on the floor, and it's a lot of, he doesn't have many insecurities with his game because he kind of knows who he is. But it's been amazing to watch him, man. I think he's shooting like 2 less threes than he averaged last year, and he's making about the same amount. So I say all the time that more than anything, the production of our front court has been amazing when it comes to Josiah, Dalton, and Jonas. They've been rock solid. They've been really steady, and our backcourt is coming along behind them. But Josiah has, I think, been the most important guy for our team this year, honestly.
You talked about freshmen, and what has Cade Phillips done that's impressed you, and what do you need to see from him more in order to see more minutes on the floor?
Yeah, with Cade, I think that the best thing you can do as a freshman, I tell our freshmen this all the time, is we know what we can get from you every time we put you on the floor. You know what I mean? I think that you have to be secure in who you are as a freshman. You have to be willing to understand that your job has to be simplified. It's not about scoring. It's not about you making a home run play. We know that every time Cade's going to check in, he's going to play really hard. He's going to defend. He's going to be physical. And that's his floor right there. If he does anything above that, it's great. We'll take it. I think right now with Freddie and Cam and JP, we're trying to help them understand that there has to be a floor in which we know what we can get from you every time you step on the floor. Like it can't be any discretion or or any indecisiveness on what you're going to bring. We got to know. And that's the comfort in K right now, is that we know exactly what we can get from him when we put him on the floor.
What's it going to take for Freddie to get to that place? It seemed like before the injury, he started to figure out defense a little bit and came back maybe looking that way too a little bit more.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just going to come down to reps. You know, all of the freshmen need reps. Fred's been hurt. He's missed some time. He's, you know, at a position where, like, he has more to learn than anybody, you know. And playing behind Zakai, I think at times Zakai makes some things look really easy that aren't very easy to a freshman. And with that being said, Zakai struggled with it when he was a freshman, but he had time to adapt and understand it. So Fred right now just has to get in the groove, get more time. I think that this is going to be a big game for him because with his size and his ball handling ability, I think he'll be really good for us in this game. But we have to have him understanding that, like, defending every possession is a big deal. That's what we need from him. I mean, you guys have been in practice, man. When Freddie really locks in and pays attention to that side of the ball, he's a high-level defender. It's a matter of him understanding that your attention span can't lack when you get to that end of the floor.
Coach Barnes came in after the UNC game and talked about we're going to get more from Jonas. Jonas has played, you know, the three guys he's played against, and he should know how good he is now. Then the next game he comes out, he has a career high points and field goal attempts. What is that as a coach? How rewarding is it to see a kid go do that when, you know, it's been a point of emphasis?
I actually told a few people that I thought that Jonas was going to be one of our most important guys coming into this year, and I felt like he was going to make that jump. And so far, I've been right. Jonas is, from his freshman year to now, has learned how to put work in, put time into his game. He's put a lot of time into his body. He's another guy that has been able to be healthy, which has helped him a ton. His confidence is really high right now, and I think that Coach, honestly, over the last month, had done an incredible job of building him up and helping him understand, like, we got confidence in you. We need you to be a really good player. And Jonas is fed off of it, man. He's been really good because of it. Again, it was great to see him having a career high the other night, made both his threes, which those were his first two makes of the season, which we need Jonas opening that element of the game for us because we know how good of a shooter he is. So for him to be able to display it in a game, you know, that was great. And I'd love to say it was probably because we were back on our home rims. So it's going to be nice for us to play at home and not play on somebody else's court or a neutral floor. It's going to be good to be at home and see if he can continue to build off of that energy and the work he's put in.
What type of matchup concerns does a guy like Terrence Shannon create given his size and playing that point guard spot?
Yeah, Terrence, you know, Terrence Shannon, we played against him 2 years ago when he was at Texas Tech. And it was a low-scoring game. He still found a way to be up near 20. I think he had 17 in the game. Terrence Shannon is really good, man. He's good getting downhill. He's really athletic. He's really strong. He's physical. And, you know, all the time, and I say this when we're scouting and things, like I told our team yesterday, hey, we got to keep him off our left hand. Fellas, I'm not a dummy. It's easier said than done. Like, we can say all day, hey, we're going to keep him off his left. I mean, everybody in the country says they're going to keep him off his left. And every game you turn on the TV and he's going downhill with his left hand, right? So it's pretty hard. But I think preparing our guys in the best ways possible, trying to limit his opportunities, limit his touches, make every catch really tough, make every drive, make him see bodies is a big thing for us. But Terrence Shannon is good, man. He's playing like an All-American right now. Like, I'm a huge fan of his game. I think he's a really good player. He's a Chicago kid I've seen for some years. So it's gonna be a fun opportunity. And I think our guys are ready for the challenge, man. They love any opportunity they have to play against a high-level player.
Are you seeing Zakai look more and more like Zakai each game out?
1,000%. He's starting to look comfortable. And, you know, I was saying this the other night. I was at home. I think I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, man, the dude's played 8 games off of the ACL. And, you know, I know some folks have been hard on him, like, oh, Zakai doesn't look like. We got to remember, man, 15 years ago, this was an injury that kept people from playing the rest of their careers, you know. And he came back in, you know, record time. And just like the freshman, his first few games off of this injury were, you know, playing against some of the top teams in the country. So I think that keeping him emotionally checked in has been good and making sure he's not too hard on himself, because I think we all know he can be very critical of himself throughout these years. But he's kind of settled in and he's getting his pace back and he's starting to look like Zakai from the end of the season last year. And it's been good to see because we need that. I think that if you say what's the biggest thing that we need right now is a table setter, someone that can calm us down in these big games and help us execute late. So it's been great, man, seeing them kind of come back to form, honestly.
How much comfort, last one do you have as a coach when you are playing a guy like Terrence Shannon Jr., who's wing that's solid, when you have good defenders like Josiah and Jemai who can match up well with that guy?
Yeah, no, I mean, I said it last year, man. I sleep really well knowing we're going into these games. I really do, because we have really competitive guys. We have guys that take pride in guarding, and they love matchups, you know. I say all the time, I was joking with Josiah after practice, you know, he's old, so certain things don't excite him as much as they used to. Matchups like this excite him, like he's ready for them, he wants them. Jamal Meshack, anytime he sees a name with a high point total next to it, in his mind, for sure he's gonna guard him. That doesn't matter if it's Zach Edey, Terrence Shannon, doesn't matter who it is. Like he wants to crack at him. So our guys are prepared. We're gonna get some more preparation today. They're excited to see the matchup. They're excited to guard Terrence. They're excited to guard Marcus Domass. They're excited to guard Ty Rogers, Quincy Guerrier. They're excited to guard all of them. So I think it's gonna be a fun game, really competitive. I think it's gonna be a lot of passion and energy. It's gonna be some old dudes trying to go at each other.